Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. This is in response to a couple of people on the forums, and also one of my viewers, Boys Toys, asked how to remove the bezel off a Sinn U-Series watch. I think he meant the U2, but we're fortunate because I have two U-Series watches, so we're going to do it on both. The reason why is that they are different. The U2 here, even though they're both U-Series, you'd think they'd have the same bezel configuration, but they haven't. The U2 has, I hate to say it, a pretty naff bezel action. There is play, but it does line up properly. It is a 60 click bezel, so yeah, it's normally I like 60 click bezels, but this one for some reason there is play in it, but it always lines up properly. It is completely functional, whereas the UX has a completely different type of bezel. It's got a fantastic click and there is zero play. It's possibly my favourite bezel out of all my watches. There is absolutely no play at all, and it's got a lovely click, and when I take it off, you'll see why that is. Sinn have a completely different system of bezel in comparison to, say, something like a Rolex. This Rolex, if you wanted to remove a bezel, you can simply put a tool under there, and when I mean a tool, I mean even a knife, and you just prise it off. You put a little bit of tape underneath, and it's purely friction fit. So worst case scenario, you knock it against a door, something like that, or if you happen to be actually using it for its proper purpose and you're underwater and hit it against a, I don't know, piece of coral or something, you can actually knock the bezel completely off. Whereas these Sinns, you cannot. They have small retaining screws around the bezel at certain positions, and that locks into a groove which runs around the bezel, which subsequently means it is a hell of a lot harder to knock the bezel off. If you did, you'd have to shear the screws which are located around there, and I'm pretty certain if you do that, yeah, it's one heck of an impact you'd have to put on it. So okay, what we'll do now is I'll actually come to removing it. One thing that I am doing, I'm going to do it on this table. If you're going to do this anywhere, do not do it anywhere where there's carpet, because these screws are tiny. They are really, really tiny. And if you drop one of these and you happen to be on a carpeted floor, you've lost it. Forget trying to look for it, because you're not going to find it. So basically what we're going to do, I'm doing it on this table, even on this, because there's no deep pile to it. The screw, hopefully, if it does come out, will only stay on here. And it's a tiled floor below me. But the main thing is not to remove the screw all the way. We only want to do a couple of turns to release it from its groove. Okay, I'll change the camera angle so we can see a little bit better. Okay, here we go. So first I'll try the UX here. I plan to take the bezel off both. So these retaining screws which are around here, find an appropriate screwdriver which fits. It's got to be a very fine screwdriver. I'm just going to place it in here, and all I'm going to do is just give it a few turns. I do not want to remove the screw all the way. So there we go, something like that. I've done approximate, I'll count the turns, but you can see the screw now is only standing out a small fraction. So let's see. So I'm going to turn that around, next screw. So we're doing about 6 turns here. Remember, the screwdriver has got to be correct for the job. You don't want it too big that you're going to make a mess of the screws. It's got to be right. So this is in, I can feel it in. I'm applying enough pressure that I'm not going to slip. So let's see. Is that all the screws? No, there's one more. Now I can feel it's loose already, so it's starting to come free. So there we go. Now the bezel is loose. So that's it. That's the bezel there. Okay, now the U2. Now I've got to be even more careful with this one because it is a blackened one, so I don't want to slip. Okay. Try and get in shot, sorry. This one feels like it's loose already, so one more screw. And that should be it, I think. There we go. Okay, back to it now. So, removed the bezels, and as you can see, the differences are these two springs here. Now, you actually have a point where they lock into position, which is there on the UX, and the U2 is up here. Now, I'll try and remove this using some tweezers. So all I'm going to do, will it come off? It's quite tight in this one. There we go, let's just move that. Just take it off camera 1 second while I just run the tweezers around it. Okay, let's see, I think that now will come off. Now, it's in the middle of these. So, you see you have these positions here. So, this one locates in the middle of these positions. So I'm going to take this off here, but leave it the right way around so I know which way up to put it. So, that goes to the bottom. What these allow you to do is micro adjust the bezel. So if I move it over to here, it might just move the bezel a tiny bit that way or a tiny bit to the right if I put it in here. And that's how you actually use it. Now on the U2, another thing to mention actually with these here is you can actually prise the spring up a little bit further all the way around. It gives you a bit more of a positive click. Now I want to see, I'm just going to take it off camera so I can see which hole it's in. Now this one is mounted on the second hole to the right. So I want to make sure I put it back that way so I know it locks into position correctly. So as you can see, you have multiple holes around here and this one is mounted there. Now, because this one only has the spring adjustments here, the holes here, I cannot mount this one in there because this one has all the way around. I dare say I could if I was willing to flatten the location points, or actually has it? I'm just looking now, let's see if I can just focus in on that. Yeah, it's got 3 location pieces, so I'm not going to flatten them for risk of damaging it. So I can't actually fit that one onto there. But I would be interested if I could contact Sinn and order another one of these and flatten it and try it in there just to see if I get a better click from the bezel, because I don't like the bezel on that. So I might actually contact Sinn and ask them. As you can see, here is the bezel. This part here is your click. Basically, that's the ratchet system, and that's where you get the actual click as you rotate the bezel. Both are the same. So as you can see, a bit harder to see as this one's black. And another thing to notice as well, if I move it out of the way, is if I turn this on the side, I'm using the UX because it's silver and easier to see. You can see here this tiny groove running round. That's where the captive bezel, that's how it works. As you screw in the screws, they lock into this. So you're actually locking, there's no way of it jumping out. where I say on most of the watches, the bezel is purely friction fit. So you pop it on and you can take it off. I don't know if these are interchangeable. We might have a go at that and see if we can actually change them. But the bezels are different. So the UX one, sorry, the UX is slimmer than the U2. Now, here we go. Let's see that. It looks like will actually fit on. So there we are. We have a U2 black in basically what would be a reverse SDR model. I say SDR because the Sinn U series watches with a black bezel silver body are called SDRs. So that would be an SDR, but that will not. Oh, actually, it looks like it might fit. Let me see if I can actually get this to fit. So if it will actually screw it into position. So let me see. So I'm applying a little bit of downward pressure on it. I'm not going to tighten it all the way, but I just want to get this screw and tighten it. To be fair, the UX ones are very stiff, which is good. Let's just try. That's one screw in. I'll turn it around, do the other. In theory, once I get two in, that should be enough. There we go. Two screws. What the heck? Do a third. And where's the fourth? There it is. So I'm just going to put this one in. That's it. Does that work? There you go. That is a UX bezel fitted. Saying that, I would say one thing. There is a little bit of play up and down. Now you could actually remove this play quite simply by lifting the springs, because as you can see, it's, if I hold it like this, just try and move it, there's maybe a millimetre of play. This you could actually remove by just lifting up the springs, but there you go. That is a operational Sinn U2 black with a UX bezel. And what's nice is I like the way the crystal actually sits proud of the bezel. Now let's try it the other way round. I'm not sure if this will work, but we'll give it a shot. I tell you what, I'll do this quickly and I'll get back to it on the video, save you the boredom of it. So, here we go. That's the Sinn U2 black with the silver UX bezel on there, and I say it is a slimmer bezel. I love the fact that the crystal stands proud. It just looks reminiscent of a Rolex, how they do theirs. Now, bezel feel, as I say, there is a little bit of play, and that's the click, not the best. Okay, and now the other way around. Now that, I didn't think this would work, but it did. So that's now an SDR version of a GSG9. I don't even know if you can get that, but there you go. So it stands proud. There is actually a raised section going around, and the click, lovely. So that's really nice. Clean that fingerprint off. So there you go, it can be done. Okay, back again. I put the bezels back on, but one thing I did do with this one, the little springs on the spring steel, I raised them up a tiny bit, and now the click is a lot better. It definitely feels better. I was always, as you can tell from the start of the video, I wasn't happy with this one. But now, to be fair, it's a lot better. So all I did were little springs which were on that silver piece which was underneath the bezel. I just prized up the spring, the little levers, just prized them up a tiny bit. And I think you can hear that sounds a lot better. So there you go, and it still lines up spot on. I'll put this one back together. I would say the UX is a bit more of a pain to put back together. I don't know why, but the screws, you have to be very careful. You can't just tighten one up, put it back on and tweak them all the way around, so you're not putting too much pressure on one side, otherwise it can lock up the bezel. It's not, you know, it's not a nightmare, but it just means you've got to play with it a little bit and get it so it's locked in right. But yeah, that all still lines up perfectly smooth, no problem at all. So that all lines up. So there you go. That's my little video on how to remove the bezel on the U-Series watch. And as a little bonus, just play and change one bezel to the other. So I hope you liked the video. And as I've said before, if you do like it, the content of this, please feel free to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next video. Okay then, all the best. Bye.